I am very excited today to introduce to you Lisa and Jesse Ferrell. They co-authored the two-time award-winning book, How You Leave Them Feeling, Your Foundation for Inspiring Love and Relationships. I love the title. In it, they share 5 guiding principles for successful professional and personal relationship, a wealth of self-assessment tools, and action steps that serve as a roadmap for success in your career and personal life. Their goal is to help countless relationships reach higher ground while pushing for the how you leave them feeling concept to become a global movement. I
Yeah.
love that vision. Congratulations on the publishing of your article in Authority Magazine and for the success of your book. So how did you decide on the title of the book?
Okay, well, that's actually a good question. The original title, the shortened version, ask more if you want more. The shortened version is, I was in a coaching session with an international client from Canada, and you know the role of a personal professional coach or executive coach, so I was playing my role.
Mhm.
Well, I was witnessing one of his vice presidents that he was kind of pummeling around a bit, a little too much, a little too aggressive, which is not even normal Canadian style behavior.
Mhm.
And so I attempted to jump in and make my comment, share my thoughts about it, and he talked over me. Well, I tried it a couple of times and he talked over me, so I said, okay, let me just listen. So I listened. He talked for nearly 40 minutes,
Wow.
nonstop, and then he says, "Are you there? Are you still there?" I said, "Yes." He says, "Well, what do you think?"
Mhm.
I said, "I think if you want to create an incentive to help people understand what you want and need, it's all about how you leave them feeling."
Yes.
Because I knew he wasn't leaving that VP feeling too good because I was coaching the vice president as well. So then when I finished the session, I go, "Oh, there's got to be a book on how you leave them feeling because he's a smart guy, but he's missing it, right?"
Yes.
So
Yes.
Nancy, I said, "I've got to find this book." I hunched over into the computer, neck bone sticking out for 3 hours looking for this book.
Yes.
I go, "This gotta be that book has got to be out there. It's got to be out there."
It's
And then
too
I
good a
thought,
title. Somebody must have taken
"Of
it.
Yeah.
course, of course, it's so yes."
Uh-huh.
So then I thought, well, wait a minute, who can I get to write this book? Because I need to get this for my client. I think about all the smart people I know and the professionally literate people I know, and I calmed down to about 17. I go, Nancy, no, Sheila, no, Tony, no, Barbara, no, he would never do it. I'm going down the list. I get to the 17. I go, I'm supposed to write that book. So the how you leave the feeling,
Inspiration.
yes, it's so that's where it was born. And who do you think bought the first book?
Tell me that vice president,
The president of the
the
company that I was
president
trying to
of
get
the
to see,
company.
yes. He when I said I'm gonna write and before I could finish it, before I could even say book, he goes, "I'm all in." Like I didn't even get to say book yet.
Oh
He bought
gosh.
the first 2,500 copies.
Oh gosh. How fun. That's a great story. I'm so glad I asked that question. And by the way, before I go further, I want to tell you how much I enjoyed the photographs of you that came with the article
Right?
because you both look like you're having so much fun with each other.
Well, we do. We like to have fun, and we walk the talk, and what you see is what you get.
And she's spot on, Nancy. Let me team up with what you said and what Lisa said. During that photo shoot, no disrespect against the photographer, because she's really
Mhm.
very good.
Mhm.
We could both sense that she wasn't really capturing us.
In
Yes.
our best, like authentic
Yes.
selves.
So
Yes.
I started goofing off and she took on to the goof off. Those pictures, we were goofing off, is why those pictures turned out like
That's
that.
right. Because it was pretty sterile up until that
Yes.
point.
I'll tell you a little secret about my courtship with my late husband. I've been widowed very young. I've been a single mom for years. And when I began dating Jim, I wasn't really sure that I liked him. I wasn't real sure, whether I wanted to pursue the relationship.
Right.
But every time we went out, we had so much fun, and I hadn't had a lot of fun in my life.
Nice.
So he seduced me, by all the fun we had together.
Because Jim knew the how you leave a feeling concept. He just didn't tell anybody.
Yes, that's right. He knew what he wanted too.
Right.
I love that in a
Me
man.
too.
Yes, I did. Well, ultimately I did too. I kind of, you know, held him off for a little while, but we were married a few months later.
You just left him wanting more when you were holding him off. That's all.
Probably that's right. Although it wasn't intentional and it wasn't meant to be manipulative,
Right.
it was genuine because I was really cautious about choosing to bring a man into my children's lives,
Right.
I was a single mom with 3 kids, and he was the man I brought into their lives. So I fully understand that statement.
Yeah. It's a much bigger decision than we made in our 20s.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Would you give us your definition of emotional intelligence? It's a term that's bounced around a lot now.
It is. I would say that emotional intelligence, when you think about that, it comes from a place where there's a foundational resource that lets you connect with, to have the ability to be aware and open to how other people's sensitivities, personalities, characters, behaviors,
Feelings.
feelings, and
Yes.
be put yourself in a position to create a volley in that experience, like a good tennis volley,
Yes.
or ping pong volley, or pickleball volley. Most people come from where they're at, and they don't
Yes.
consider the people or person on the other side. Emotional intelligence is when you consider the key factors of what those people are made of and what their mission or intention is, not just your own. And then you can move from that, really, not just from black and white. I think
Yes.
emotional intelligence is a gray zone. It's a broad gray zone. Just because you have emotional intelligence doesn't mean you're at the top of the game with that. Or just because you had a
Yes.
beginning level of learning emotional intelligence is the ability to engage and connect with others in a rhythm
Yes.
that provides value for the circle meaning you, them, and whatever it is the nature of the business is.
So you're able to lift above, have a higher perspective, and
Yes.
see both perspectives, hear the other's
Yes.
point of view,
Knowledge.
Yes.
and acknowledge
Acknowledge
it.
them.
Yes.
Before you decide who's right and who's wrong. And don't focus on who's right and who's wrong. Focus on what is right. What is best.
With emotional intelligence, there's never a right and wrong. You're right or I'm wrong, or
Right.
vice versa.
Exactly.
We're looking for a solution, perhaps, but not willing to judge each other as right or wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Completely. And
Yeah.
and then, by the way, emotional intelligence, it's not abundant out there.
You bet it. I know that.
Yeah.
I know that. And it's certainly a skill or a quality that the world needs today, doesn't it? As well as many,
More-
many marriages desperately
more than
need
ever.
that quality.
More than ever, because you've got to care. You've got to head, heart, gut, and think from all of those places.
Mhm.
And most people just want what's best for them. They don't think about what's best for others.
And let's break it down to its simplest perspective. It's a hyphenated single word.
Okay.
Self-awareness.
Okay.
Self-awareness.
Yes.
You develop your self-awareness, you will develop your emotional intelligence.
Yes.
Most people don't get others because they don't even get themselves.
That is so true, Jesse.
Yeah.
But they don't even know that. That's
No,
one of those,
they
they don't
don't
know
know.
what they don't know. They don't know that they think they're going about being whoever they are as an expression of who they are, but sometimes it's just knee-jerk reactions and
Mhm.
not being responsible, not being thoughtful, and so forth. So we believe we believe it's grounded in self-awareness.
I
Who
agree
are you?
completely. I agree completely with you. So I'm going to ask, how does emotional intelligence operate between the two of you when you are in conflict?
Lisa, if you have some thoughts, I'd like to hear your thoughts first. But they may or may not be the same, but they both work.
It's not often, honestly, that we're in conflict, because when we got together, we made some agreements together about how I like to live my life, and him how he likes to live his life. And when these things are happening, there are no discussions or no
Mhm.
arguments about the way we live. They're called house agreements and biz rules.
Mhm.
If something is in conflict, I will remove the emotion, so the emotion doesn't come into it, and just
Okay.
simply have a conversation to say how I'm feeling and to see how he responds. But we typically don't blow up in each other's face, and it's a very rational conversation through obviously years of doing it wrong, learning how to do it right.
Years before we connected.
Yes.
I got
making
that.
mistakes.
I
Nice.
picked that
Yes,
up.
thank you for that.
Yeah. And to Liz's point, and how it works, the house rules or house agreements, you each have to have one, and you can't have more than 3.
Okay.
And every 90 days, we evaluate how am I doing on your house rules or house agreements, and how are you doing on mine? And we just have a conversation about it. Typically, we're both doing pretty darn good on them. I don't need, in fact, I don't remember a time when I was, well, you're really blowing my house rule. I don't think it's literally have ever happened. I can't think of a time that it's ever
Because we
happened.
respect them.
Exactly.
It's
You
out of
keep your
respect.
agreements.
Yes. Yes. We establish and keep the agreement. And by the way, with house rules or house agreements, they're non-negotiable.
Yes.
If
I
she
was
says
about to
that's-
bring, I was about to bring that term up.
Yes, because if she says that's her house rule or house agreement, I don't get to negotiate to change it to what I want it to be. It's how she
Mhm.
needs to have it.
Yes.
And I think that's where the magic is. And so every 90 days you can swap out, you can interchange different house rules or house agreements, whatever you decide, or you can keep the ones that you have. But we keep that as part of when you talk about how do we handle conflict or confrontational matters like that, we typically, when they do come up, I think we handle them with grace, and we use our emotional intelligence, and we both continue to work on emotional intelligence, even though we teach it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want an example of one time, and I didn't get mad, but there were 10 years in our relationship where he said, I'm good enough and I don't need to ask anyone. If I'm good enough, they're going to come to me and they're going to come back. And I said, well, if being a single mom with 3 kids and being in broadcasting sales, if I didn't ask for the business, I would have starved and we wouldn't have had a shelter over our roof over our head.
Yes.
So after
What Lisa's setting up is we were in trouble business wise. Our business was
Okay.
really, it was a horrible time. It was that, 2008 period, 2009. It was really,
Yeah.
really terrible. We were literally about ready to go out of business. And she was saying, well, what you need to start asking for the business. I'm going, I don't need to ask. When you're good at what you do, business will come. Well, she's setting what I'm setting up, what Lisa's sharing is I was at that moment thinking that my way of living life, being constantly looking to improve and get better and better and better, was enough to keep us in business.
So he said, listen, if I'm missing something, don't let 10 more years pass us by. Tell me. The one word is switch.
Mm-hmm.
When you say switch, if I don't understand what you're trying to get me to switch to, I'll say, please, can you give me clarification and explanation?
Mm-hmm.
So if that's needed, but that's about the only time that we've really had something that had gone on so long that my view was completely different than his view, but I respected the way he felt and he respected the way I felt.
Because then what she said, that respect for one another is important. Well, hold it, don't let me forget the respect. I want to come back to that. So the house rule is called switch.
Okay.
And the way it was designed is I had to see a behavior in her that she had seen in me, but I couldn't see it in me until I saw it in her.
Yes. Okay. I
We
get
were
that.
we were on a three keynote tour, and we were leaving Canada, flying into Southern California for another tour, speaking tour. And I was having a conversation with her, and she was on her laptop trying to nail out some things, but she's very kind and very polite. So I thought she was listening to me. So I'm saying this, roll out. She, yeah. And I yeah, yeah. I said, well, what are your thoughts? She said, what?
Thoughts about what? Because I was trying to do some business while we had this much internet left before we took off again.
Yeah.
And I was just Yeah, acknowledging, which was
Uh-huh.
the wrong thing to do too.
Well,
But it's a
but she
learning
didn't, she was
moment.
being kind though, but I thought she was,
Mm.
I said, what do you mean? What about what? I said, did you not hear a word I said? She goes, oh, and then she said what she just said. No, I was just
Yeah.
trying to, because the flight's gonna take off and I was trying to get in the internet. And I said, that's what I look like when she's trying to get me to see something that I cannot see. And I said, okay. And then I watched this movie program called 20 Feet from Stardom that basically the backup singers behind the stars
Mhm.
were starving, although they have these angelic voices. And these lead singers said they wouldn't be who they are without these backup singers. Mick Jagger,
Mhm.
Sting,
Luther
Luther
Vandross.
Vandross, all these majors said, if I didn't have these backup singers, I couldn't make it. But the backup singers are starving.
Yeah.
That taught me being good enough is not good enough.
Yeah.
And then with this one, I said, so switch. I said, okay, here's my new house rule. If you see me doing something and you know, and you believe or know that it's either going to cause harm, challenge, or we could be doing better, just
Mhm.
tell me what it is and just say switch. Now, you make sure I know what you're talking about because I can't switch what I don't know.
Yeah.
So the rule is when she says switch, I do not get to debate that. I just say,
Mhm.
got it, I've switched.
Okay.
If she says switch and I go, what in the heck are you talking about?
Yeah.
She says, well, you did the X, the Y, the B, the Z, and the M, and we need to do the ABC. Got it, switch. That's it.
You know what I'm picking up? You wanted to get back to respect, and I want
Yes.
to cover that too, because what I'm picking up between the two of you is an enormous uh, habit of respect between the two of you.
Yes.
In my coaching, I call respect the fertilizer of love.
Love it.
Oh, I like that a
Love it.
lot.
The less
Fertilize
respect
love.
you have for each other, the less love you're going to feel.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, and the more you respect each other, the more it feeds the feelings of love.
Yes.
You are so spot on. That's because when people see us, I'm talking a broad range of people from different
Mhm.
ethnic backgrounds, different ages, different nationalities, different languages. They can feel our vibration because everything's
Yes.
energy. They can feel this vibration.
Yes.
And because of that, respect level is so high that we don't really think about it. We just live it, to be honest with you.
Yes.
A lot of times people come up and start having a conversation. They'll say, we were on a flight once, and the flight attendant was very quiet. She wasn't talking to anybody. She was
Mhm.
6 rows in front of us and she was heading our direction. Lisa was on the window seat. The
Mhm.
middle seat was blank and I was on the aisle seat. And she stopped. She goes, oh my God. She says, the energy between the two of you is resonating so high. She goes, how are you doing that? I don't even know who you
We
are.
were just being who we were,
Yeah,
but she could
I
feel it.
love it.
we
We,
were just having a conversation. It wasn't even kissy poo stuff. It was just a conversation.
you know, who we are, our character is like an aura that precedes us
Yes.
into a room. It
Yes.
surrounds us.
Yeah.
Yes. And so that respect level, when Lisa has decided on something that I don't agree with, what do you think I say to her, Nancy? Now, don't forget the respect is there. What do you think I say?
Tell me more about it.
I'll let her tell me more about it. After she tells me more about it, and what if I don't agree with what Lisa is, feeling that this is the way? What do you think happens?
One option might be, are you in a place where you can hear my take on that? You know, an
That's really good.
exchange.
That's really good. That's really good. She's a one. By the way, just so you know, if you haven't already figured this out, because you're a smarty pants, you probably have figured this out. Lisa is the best, most exquisite listener on the planet that I have ever met. She's got
Mhm.
amazing listening skills. Okay.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, she's an amazing. In fact, her skills are so good. Sometimes she can't get people off of her, and they don't even. She's in the grocery store. She's trying to get in the car. And they won't let her out of the line because
Yes.
because they can see it, right?
Yeah.
So what I say to Lisa is this: I say, I don't agree with that, but if you feel good about this, you roll with it, and let's have a conversation on the other side of this. Tell her about your investment in crypto and stuff. This is a great example, real quick.
Well,
Okay.
I woke up one day and I said, I have a feeling, and this is after we'd been together for 14 years. I said, I don't know what it is, and I'm not a gambler. My father was, his mother was.
Compulsive, not gambler, compulsive gambler.
They kind of ruined that.
Ooh, yeah.
Addicted.
Yeah. So I said, can I take some money and invest it in the crypto market? I said, in all fairness, I don't know what I'm doing, but our friend and partner in business, Lisa, knows all about it, and she can
Got it.
guide me along the way. And he wasn't a fan, but he said, I don't want this to be turning into something bigger and worse. We'll do 5,000 and that's it. And that was the deal. And
No, no, no. Lisa said, what about 5,000?
Okay,
I said, I'm fine with that.
okay,
I said, but I spent 36 years in corporate American hospitality, and 18 of those 36 years was a casino marketing executive. It was my job to entice people to come in to gamble. I know what that looks like, and I know what gamblers look like. And my mother was a compulsive gambler. My father divorced her because she would not stop gambling.
okay,
So I know what that looks like. So I don't
yes,
want to get in that parade.
yeah,
However, if this is what you feel confident about, I respect your choice, but let's monitor this when you get through the cycle of that.
so again, it was a feeling, and I called my friend, her name's Lisa as well. And I said, I want to pull out because I was watching.
No, sorry. You made the investment. It took some time. And when you got to the level, because you had a goal, tell her what your goal was.
My goal was to take our whole entire family, 11 people, on a 1-week vacation, all expenses paid from us.
wow,
Yes.
And
big,
so when
No,
more
I
than
no.
5,000.
Nancy was way, because how many total people was it? Was it
10, it was 10.
10 of us. That's
Okay.
a big number. And
Yes, it
mostly
is.
adults, only 2 grandchildren, all the rest adults.
Okay,
So when it got to $40,000, I said, please, let's get me out. Well, 2 days after that, the market crashed, and my friend that was in it,
wow,
she said, how did you know? I said, it was just a feeling. And she lost her like almost everything,
oh
So
gee,
Lisa doubled her goal. Her goal
more
was,
than double,
well, watch, I thought your goal was 15,000.
20 for the
Oh,
family
okay, it was
vacation.
20. Okay, got it. 20. So she doubled her goal, got out. How many times have you done crypto since then?
0.
See? So that was an example. Most people, with the knowledge that I had, with the desire that she had, that would have been a big fight.
right,
That they never made. Nobody probably would have ever won, but it would have
yes.
caused resentment on either or both sides. There was no resentment, no anger. Did I want her to lose 5,000? No, I didn't want her to lose 5,000. But okay, if she's feeling this, go. My thing is, I respect her desire to choose. Just because we're married, I don't get to choose for her. She needs to choose for herself,
Okay,
whether it engages me or I don't care who it is.
that is respect.
Yeah.
I don't, and that doesn't mean I'm gonna like it. And I'm the kind of guy,
Well,
if I don't, I'm not gonna beat her up, but I'm gonna say it, then I'm
Yeah.
gonna put it away and step off.
yeah,
Let her, because this is her life, not my life. We have a life together. I have a life and she has a life. It's not on me to dictate what her life is.
you know, every successful couple that I've interviewed so far talk about the importance of having together time, you know, together goals and so forth, and separate ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, the separation is what keeps the spice alive in the
Yes,
relationship.
because it's you. It's
Yes.
about you. You're not trying, you're not lamenting, you're not sacrificing, you're not
Mhm.
negotiating. You're doing it the way you feel or want or need it. And it needs to be that way.
Yes. Ideally, it should be that way.
Yeah.
You recommend taking top personality assessments to get to know yourself and your partner. Tell me why.
Because when we did the study of 16 different assessments over 2 years, the color code by Dr. Taylor Hartman was one that was easy to learn, easy to implement, affordable, and
very reliable, very accurate.
yeah, like 90% accurate. Are you familiar with it?
I am not. I hadn't heard of it until I read your article.
Okay, it's by Dr. Taylor Hartman. So there are a number of different assessments out there with color related in the title, but his is called the Color Code. It's
I'm
by
writing
Dr.
it down this time.
Dr. Taylor Hartman. You email us after this, you email us, we're going to gift it. We'll buy it for you.
Oh, bless your heart. Thank
We'll
you.
buy it for you. You take it, and then we get to have a powwow afterwards after you get
Oh,
finished.
I love this. I just, well, thank you, first of all, for the gift, for telling me about it.
You're
And for
welcome.
this gift. I know I'm going to really enjoy it.
Yeah, and so Lisa's telling me about the reason why we chose it. She's telling you the reasons why we chose it. Then we became certified color code trainers within our other roles that we play
Uh-huh,
because we wanted to learn it to the highest degree. Most people you talk to that have taken any sort of assessment, they don't remember the name of the assessment. They
right.
have no idea what the
Don't apply
result,
it.
don't apply it. They have no idea what the results are. They don't
Mhm.
know the distinctions. But
Yeah,
when people learn the color code, they typically remember the red, blue, yellow, and white, which is
okay.
which is the standard. That red, blue, yellow, and white stands for driving core motive. And your driving core motive equals why you do what you do.
How fascinating this is going to be, because I've been doing a lot of journaling and thinking about purpose. And
Mm,
I know what my purpose is, but it's like at this stage in my life, it's like I'm reaching for a higher level of
Mm,
purpose, you know,
perfect
because
timing.
I'm also thinking a lot about what kind of legacy will I leave.
nice.
Anyway, thank you for this information. It's going to be fun. So you suggested giving a sincere compliment to your partner or anyone else you are meeting. And bless your heart, you demonstrated that as soon as we got online together.
But do you know why I did that to you?
Tell me.
First, disclaimer, do not take this personally.
Okay.
Okay. Your hairstyle, your eyes, the structure of your face is extremely similar to my grandmother's.
Oh, gosh.
And so I was thinking about her personality, and I was thinking about your personality, and I could see immediate matches,
Uh-huh.
right? And so that's why I said it because I felt the connection, like
So
right away.
she must elicit some nice memories for you.
Huge, foundational, not just nice, foundational. My
Okay.
first 12 years of life was strongly inspired by 4 women role models.
Wow.
My favorite aunt, Helen, Viola at the time, my grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
Della Huddleston, and then my mother.
Okay.
They were my first 4, and I can even add my 5th grandmother in Mississippi because she did some things that she didn't do for any of the other brothers and sisters that I have, and I don't know how she knew to do that or why she did it.
Mm-hmm.
But those 5 players helped me be. I think that's why I get along with women so well because I've been connected and tied in
Mm-hmm.
from since I was a baby.
You've had such good, healthy connections
Yeah.
Yes,
that you're not afraid of women.
not at all.
Okay, wonderful. So tell me, you know, other than how much it blessed me to hear the compliment you gave me, what do frequent, sincere compliments do for any relationship?
I think it's a confidence booster, a self-esteem raiser. I
Mhm.
think that, especially when it's unexpected, it raises your emotional intelligence. It is a nice surprise.
Yes,
It
certainly.
it makes you all nice and warm and fuzzy.
Uh-huh.
And we need more of that in the world. Why, if it's so simple to just say, "You've got the most beautiful eyes." Why don't we
Mhm.
tell somebody that?
Exactly.
"You've got the most beautiful smile."
Mhm.
You don't even have to say words if you don't
Right.
know that person. You can simply smile at them.
Yes.
A
Yes.
smile goes a long way, right?
You
Yes.
never know where someone's at. For instance, if you look at Lisa, Nancy, if you look at Lisa, she's a very attractive woman,
Mhm.
but she's very hard on herself.
Oh, okay.
And oftentimes she's being way too hard on herself. And even if Lisa gained 300 pounds looking like this, she still would be a cutie pie. Okay.
Mhm.
And she's not there, but she's hard on herself with this just unchallenging thing with
Menopause.
yes, I was gonna try to find a
Oh,
nice way to say it, but
I
what life does
understand.
to women at some point that changes their physical structures and even in their eating, they
Mhm.
may be eating less and they gained all this
Mhm.
weight. Like what in the
Yes.
world, right? So anyway, so I'll tell Lisa how attractive she is as a reminder. Even though I've been with her for 17 years, I've said it a million times. 1,000,001 is important as the first time I said it.
Yes, it is, isn't
Every
it?
day, you know? Because,
Mhm.
some days you're high energy and you're feeling better than others, but every day you should say, "Wow, you look nice today. That shirt's great," or "those shoes," or "the pants," or something.
Yes.
I mean, don't make it up, make it meaningful and
It
real,
has to be
right?
real, yes.
Right, it
Yeah,
has to be authentic, but most couples or relationships, they get into what Lisa and I have called relationship comfort. Relationship comfort is two-sided. It's multiple, but main two sides. One is you want to be in a comfortable relationship, so you feel good about being in a relationship with them. The other side is we get too comfortable that we start to take them for granted, like they're always going to
Yes.
be there, and they're not.
Yes.
Like we don't say thank you and please, and we don't do things for them that we do for almost anyone else, or we do things to them that we don't do to anybody else.
You know, my husband and I, our marriage was on track. We were happy. We were very loving toward each other when we took the 5 love languages quiz. And I found out that his primary love language was words of affirmation. And I just thought, oh, shoot, I'm so bad at that. I was raised in a family where I was never complimented, you know,
Yeah.
nothing was ever good enough to be acknowledged. So I was really bad at receiving compliments, and I was even worse at giving them.
Mhm.
But when I found out that was his love language, I got very intentional about every day rehearsing in my head, how can I tell him I love this about him? Or, you know,
Mm.
how can I compliment him today? And he had plenty of things for me to compliment. He was an amazing man. But it took a while for me to be comfortable putting the words together and
yeah,
delivering the words.
yeah,
And
Because
then,
of where you came from, because your foundation, because
yes,
you didn't get that, you knew you were aware of it because you're an intellect, but not emotionally or connected to it because you
yes.
didn't get that connection.
mm-hmm.
A few months later, are you hearing this noise from my computer or is it just me?
Nope,
No.
not us.
Oh, I'm so glad you can't hear. All right. A few months later, my adult son came to me and said, Mom, I was a good kid. I was easy to raise. Why didn't you ever tell me that? And I
Wow.
thought, oh dear, you know, it just broke my
Yeah.
heart because I had passed on
Oh,
that
wow.
habit to my child.
Wow.
And since that time, 20 years ago, every time I have any connection with him at all, phone call or in person or anything, I find things to compliment or appreciate about him.
Nice.
And it was interesting that the first few years I was doing that with him, he was uncomfortable receiving them, the
Yeah,
Wow.
compliments, because he wasn't used to it either.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
But now he's even turned around and begun complimenting me, which had never happened in the past.
Wow. Because you taught him that before.
Yes, yes,
Wow. See,
so
but
important.
you just guess what you just put the amen on again. Self-awareness.
self-awareness.
Yeah,
You were self-aware enough to know I better, if that's my husband's love language and that's nowhere near my vocabulary, I better get some books on this, learn, read, and start practicing mentally, or it's never going to happen.
yeah,
Mhm.
You raise the level of your social consciousness in that.
Well, it's interesting that now I find it very easy to compliment everyone I'm around, you
Well,
know,
because you practiced it.
because I practiced it until it felt easy, until it was
Yes.
comfortable, until I worked at noticing what can I compliment, how can I appreciate.
Yes.
And it changes the relationship, it changes the person on the receiving end.
What's
absolutely.
amazing about the words you just used, Nancy, when she said that, because I saw her mouth start to open, so I paused. I was going to say the word game changer, and you said changes everything. So it's
Yes.
synonymous. That was a game changer for you and your child and your former husband, for you to
Mhm.
get that and get that in yourself so you can make it better for you and them. It
And
was a game changer. Like you said, it changes everything.
changes every relationship. I love that that's why I pulled it out to comment about in the article that you wrote, because you mentioned how important giving sincere compliments are.
Completely.
And then you suggested giving, lost my place. Sincere is the first quality of your shave concept, SHAVE. What are the other qualities and how do you employ them in your marriage?
Well, the next one is humble.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to speak to humble first? Do you want me to go humble?
Well, humble goes to being authentic, right? I would want to come to him with something that is from my heart and being very humble than coming at it with an attitude and it's my way and it's this way and because I said, and I mean, that's not even, you don't even want to receive that because it's
No.
not, you're not approachable. So
Yeah.
being humble when you deliver a message is going to get you a lot further. You know, the whole thing, better to give somebody honey than vinegar, right?
Mhm.
So deliver it in a way that's palatable.
Uh-huh.
I agree with everything Lisa says. I won't go deep on this, but I'll say, from my side of humble or humility, I've always desired that over being egotistical or cocky or
Mhm.
arrogant. I think those characteristics are turnoffs. And I'll never forget
Yes.
my mother's from Louisiana. She was raised in Bastrop, Louisiana. And I'd go to visit my mother in my adult years, and I would be having conversation with her. And I'm going to speak Louisiana-ese. So
Yes.
those watching this will love this. Those that are not from Louisiana might not know what the heck I'm saying.
Okay.
But my mother would say, I would be chatting, and I would be her turn to speak, and she would look at me, smack her lips. Boy, you smart. Smart is, let me speak standard English, smart.
Yes,
But
I got it. I did
but she-
understand it.
And I said, Mother, I would thank her. I said, Mother, thank you for the compliment, because she was a highly intelligent woman. So coming from her, I appreciate it. I said,
Mhm.
Mother, thank you for the compliment. I said, but I don't focus on trying to prove to people how smart I am.
Mhm.
I think that smart people just do smart things. People that want to prove
Yes.
how smart they are, nobody wants to be around people like that. So I didn't want her to think, okay, I didn't want to tell her to stop saying it, but I really don't need her to tell me how smart I am.
If I
'Cause
have to tell you I'm smart, then it probably doesn't mean very much.
Right, right. So I said, I focus on doing smart things, not proving to you how smart I am.
Mhm.
Anyway, so that to me is very humble. I want to remain humble. And so it's a good one. So we use it in our relationship. We use it in other places too.
Okay. And that was humble is the H. What's the A?
Authentic.
Authentic.
And you and I and Lisa, just on this exchange that we've had so far, we have all been 100% authentic. What you see is what you get.
Yes. Thank
Be
you.
your natural self.
I'm
Even
glad-
if you're not in a perfect space or perfect disposition, there is no perfection. In fact, I'm a recovering perfectionist and aspiring good enoughness.
I
Okay.
love that. I share that with you.
Yes.
I spent
Yes. So
many years as a perfectionist and being miserable.
Yes.
I strive for excellence now, not perfection.
Yes.
So we believe being authentic like that is find out who you are. Again, self-awareness. Who are
Mhm.
you? Tell yourself who you are and then tell the world who you are. And
Yes.
that's it. And if it's not good enough, okay, next.
And walk the talk about what you say that you are,
Yes.
because one of Jesse's famous saying is whatever you do in the dark is going to come out in the light. So
Yes.
if you're not authentic and you don't walk the talk, then there goes your credibility.
And it's going to catch up to you at some point.
Well, and people that are very highly intuitive, highly emotionally intelligent, sense when you're not being authentic anyway.
Yes.
100%. They know it
You can
right
feel
away.
it.
Yes. It's not just in the book how you leave
Yeah.
them feeling. But to Lisa's point, when you are inauthentic, I don't care the intelligence of the person on the other side, they can feel that.
Yes.
And also it's a turnoff. And they typically shut down, shut out, or leave.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
And then the
So
next
go to V. What does V
V
stand
is
for?
vulnerable.
Yes.
V is vulnerable. You want to speak to vulnerable, Lisa?
Well, I think, I've had several hardships. From 0 to 40, I wondered why I was even put on this earth.
Mm.
And I think I do these things called Women in Conversations, and I do it as a way of giving my gift back and opening a space, a safe space to tell the truth. And in sharing my life and my story, I think it's important to, people look at me and think, oh, you've got it all together. But to say, hey, I've gone through sexual abuse. Hey, I lived with a drug addict. Hey, I have gone through some really tough times. And
Mhm.
they'd be like,
They're blown away.
they're like,
Mhm.
you? But to open that up gives a whole new sharing to people that I'm not perfect and we all have gone through stuff. We all have baggage, but it's made us who we are today.
Exactly. And when you are vulnerable about those struggles, it creates a safe space for others to share their
Exactly.
vulnerability
That's
as
That's
well.
exacty what happens.
That's exactly right.
And when she
Mhm.
says this, we started this years ago. It's called Conversations, and we do conversations, which is, it could be a melting pot of all kinds of people with that. She's
Mhm.
now specializing in women in conversation so that she can kind of tag that in with her coaching business that she's built, where
Good.
Lisa focuses on women. But when we designed the concept of conversations,
Mhm.
we said, wait a minute, we've both been given some amazing gifts. These gifts aren't ours. They belong to the universe. They belong to the world. What about the people that can't afford our services? So
Mhm.
why don't we do this thing called conversations where we don't have any agenda, we don't set up for it, we don't plan for it, we just bring them in and we have a conversation. It's so powerful, Nancy. We cannot get people to leave our home.
Yeah. Because they've been able to, unload things they've held in for a very long time. It's really special.
So I'm going to go cultural on you. So I tell them, I said, listen, when we start the conversation, I said, listen, no disrespect. I don't draw lines in the sand on color or race
Mhm.
or language or anything, but I did grow up in a culture of Black people. And
Mhm.
Black people, when they go to an event of any kind, house or wherever, if there's good food, good drink, or good time, they won't leave. They never leave. I said,
Yes.
so I'm gonna treat you like you're Black people, even though you're not. I'm gonna pretend like you're Black. And when it's
Okay.
over, I'm telling you, you got to go.
Good for you.
Because you have to tell Black people, leave my house, or they won't leave.
It's called setting healthy boundaries.
Right, right.
Yes.
That was a nice way to say it.
It's very true.
So Lisa's right, and men tend to be, because of our society, especially in the older days when I grew up, even now, but in the older days, if a boy gets his hand slammed in a door, boys don't cry. No, if my hand
Right.
slammed in the door, I am going to cry.
Right.
Right? So boys and men are not taught to be vulnerable. So I think it's an amazing characteristic to connect with a man that has
Yes.
the ability to be vulnerable.
Yes.
Rare.
And to cry and share their emotions.
To
Well,
cry,
and for you to model that gives them permission.
Yes.
100%. Nancy, I know we're getting tight on time. Tell Nancy about the crying that we just did a shoot in the studio for the book. Lisa got this brilliant idea. We're co-authoring, but she started it.
Mhm.
We're co-authoring for How You Leave Them Feeling, Your Foundation for Inspiring Love and Relationship. We're co-authoring a interactive companion book,
Workbook.
workbook that goes along with it. It's really,
Great.
really good. So we just shot the video that's going to be connected through the barcode inside of this. They can scan the barcode, then they get the video pop right up.
Mhm.
And the gentleman that owns this studio that shot, do you remember the story that he shared that brought the tears? Or
It's your story, so you tell it.
super short. We were ending and get ready to leave, and we had shot there the day before, and I made a comment about his personality, and it was authentic again.
Mhm.
And I said, you don't, I said, when it comes to our book, I said, How You Leave Them Feeling, just go to the last page, read the last paragraph, because you got everything else down. That's it. I didn't
Mhm.
think anything of it. Tell Nancy how this guy reacted. I didn't even know that it meant anything to him at all
Yeah.
until
Mhm.
today at the end of the shoot. What did he
He
say?
came up and he goes, I just want to tell you those words that you told me. And he started crying. He said, I was having a day and I needed to hear it. And the way you said it made me feel whole again. And tears were streaming down his face.
And it came out of, we weren't even talking about that at all. When he hit me with that, guess what do you think my response was?
To cry.
Yeah, I'm crying like a baby. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, what are you saying? What? What are you saying? Right? That's vulnerability right there. Double back. He had it and I had it.
Mhm. So E, what does E stand for?
So then the final E
is engaging. Be engaging. And I believe all three of us have been engaging and respectful
Mhm.
and had a good time along the way.
Had a good
engaging,
time.
I think, is important because I believe when you have the ability to engage
And connect.
Uh-huh.
engaging and connecting, I agree. I think they're almost synonymous and or crossing over to each other.
Mhm.
When you have the ability to engage and connect, you have the ability to have it rise. I learned something years ago from Landmark Education. It says
Mhm.
everything rises and falls in language.
Oh, that's an interesting statement. I believe that.
Everything rises and falls in language. The language that you use, the language that you allow in, and that little alter ego that sits on our shoulders, typically the naysayer,
Yes,
that's language. Everything
Yes.
rises and falls in language.
yes,
So your engagement and connection comes from your ability to articulate and assimilate and navigate the language as needed per each situation.
yes. I love that. I'm going to write that down. So for people who are watching the video today, I want you to know how you can contact Jesse and Lisa on their website called jesstalk.com. That's JESS talk.com. Such a pleasure to meet you today. Thank you for all the good you are bringing to the world. I'm wondering if you'd mind staying a minute after I stop the recording.
Oh, that's
Only,
fine.
only because we already fell in love with you. That's the only reason.
Oh.
Other than that, we wouldn't have the time to do it.
That's good enough. Thank you. I'm going to stop.